Hey, this is Thomas with Believe in the Run.
This is Robbe with Believe in the Run.
And man, we are sitting here with the Nike Pegasus Plus.
Yep. Also,
why isn't it the Turbo?
Also the Turbo 3. Real ones no.
All right, you know what, Robbe? I'm gonna pull this up, and if you're looking at this, you might be like, "What?" Oh no, this is the original. This is the OG.
Well, when you posted the picture on Instagram of both the shoes together, I was like, I'm not sure which is which.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell this one has a little more white knit, and the knit is different. But next to each other, like real quick, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. This shoe is wildly popular amongst what I would call the shoe geek people. Like maybe it wasn't on the foot of everybody like maybe a Brooks Ghost was, but if you were in the know and you was like 2018 and you loved the Vaporfly and this came out, the Turbo was exciting. It was a blend of ZoomX on the top layer, React foam on the bottom layer, and it was the first kind of use outside of the race day shoes for the ZoomX foam.
Yeah, I mean, people were stoked on that shoe, which makes sense. ZoomX at the time was like light years ahead of everyone else as far as performance, feel, and everything.
Everybody else was using EVA at that time. There wasn't even super critical foams.
Exactly. And the design was interesting. I think the racing stripe or bowling shoe look was a little divisive depending on your preference. Did you like it?
I did. There is a heritage version of Nikes that this goes back. So if you know like your history, it kind of did play into their whole like archive collection. So I kind of like it. I still like it. Like when I look down and you're running and you see that like stripe going through, I think it creates a sense of motion and speed. I kind of dig it.
But then the second version of the shoe did not have that, and it was a little bit different in that the upper was a little more stripped down, flatter tongue, and in a way, I feel like the third version is almost a mix of those two shoes.
I'd agree with you there. Let's get into it. First off, Flyknit upper. Talk me through it.
Yeah, Flyknit uppers, pretty straightforward as far as Nike uppers go. It's honestly really nice. I like the design of it. I like the open ventilation here. You have a saddle inside for a little bit of increased support. You don't get the fly wire that you found in the first version, but overall, it's a pretty nice upper. You got some nice support in the heel here. The racing stripe is more of a knit that goes into the tongue here. Did you feel the racing stripe on this? Because I know Meg had some issues with the racing stripe in the first version. Any problems with abrasion or anything like that?
No, you don't. I didn't notice it. For me, this upper fits true to size. The weaving that they do with the open area for breathability and then tighter in the areas where you need it. I found the fit to be really nice. You mentioned the heel counter and this. No heel lift, comfort around the ankle and the heel.
Yeah.
It's a nice upper.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I gotta say, I don't know, for some reason it didn't fit me the way that usually Nike uppers are just perfect for me. And there's something about it that, I don't know if it was the last or what it was, if there's not as much structure in the upper. It didn't feel like my favorite Nike fit.
Someone had asked online whether or not it was wider and fit more like the Infinity. I do feel like you can kind of see here, I tightened mine up, but you could kind of loosen this up and it does have some room and the knit will stretch a little bit. I think it's what we're missing from that race fit that you and I both have more narrow feet, that this is maybe going to be a little more accommodating.
There was a little more room in the upper where it kind of felt like maybe you're coming, like sometimes you would move out over the midsole. Which is
so you're saying you weren't getting locked down over the top?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
It felt like that at times to me.
I kind of missed the fly wire that was in the original. This one has like an internal like felt webbing that's on the sides here to create that saddle lockdown. I do think that it would have been nice to have some fly wire on this. Even if it was just to call back from the original, I think it would have helped with some of the things that you're talking about with the fit. Overall, though, I really did like the upper. I think most people will.
So let's go on to the midsole, which is the star of the show, I guess you could say. Let's talk about ZoomX in the Turbo 3. I can't even help myself. I have to call it that.
Yeah, and just in case you don't know, ZoomX is a Pebax foam. So it's one of the lighter foams, supposed to have the most energy return. In this particular case, I feel like it doesn't have the same properties that you are used to from ZoomX.
Yeah, I mean, there's an inherently different feel between this and the Vaporfly, this and the Alpha Fly, even this and the Invincible. Maybe similar to the Streak Fly. You've run in the Streak Fly, so I haven't run in the Streak Fly. You have, so
I would say the feeling is the closest to the Streak Fly.
Okay, because I think a lot of people are asking that and wondering that because there is some similarities between the two.
So the similarity is it has that same kind of level of squishiness. You can feel it here, Robbie. Mm-hmm. The thing is, though, you have the thicker rubber on the front of the Streak Fly there, and the shank give you a little more of a feeling of like structure under the forefoot. Mm-hmm. And while this one has plenty of rubber under the forefoot, I feel like it just compressed a lot. So even though the stack looks bigger than even the original Turbo and the Streak Fly, I could feel the ground more through the forefoot on this shoe than I really wanted to.
They feel like sand.
Yeah. Hey, I get it.
Got you.
Yeah.
You talked about feeling the ground more, and that is one of the things that I felt in this shoe that maybe I was even kind of surprised by. And we don't have the official stack height measurements on this yet.
We think it's around 38 in the heel, 26 in the front, or 36, or a 10 millimeter drop probably.
Yeah, but just judging from the outside, you'd be like, okay, this is a normal daily trainer, still gonna offer some cushion and everything. But I will say in the forefoot, there seemed to be more that ground feel, like not a lot of comfort, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't hate, like there's shoes like the Adidas SL2 or even the Brooks Hyperion Max 2 that we just reviewed, or the Hyperion. I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me, but there is this has a squish feel to it, which is like that squish and compress to the ground, come up.
My foot started to feel fatigue from it. So if I was going for a 6 mile run, I feel like this shoe really handles it well. It's light, the turnover's quick. It was when I started getting over that I started feeling a little fatigue on the palm of my foot up here in the front. It just is what Robbie was talking about. I think that my weight of being around 170 pounds coming down onto this foam, it just bottomed out and I started feeling the pavement. I prefer to be more protected in the front, especially going on longer mileage. If you're a heel striker, the way that this shoe goes through your stride, I think is gonna really appeal to you, because that ZoomX does in the heel have plenty of cushioning, and then you're gonna roll through. The shoe is very flexible.
Yeah, that is one thing about this shoe. This is an incredibly flexible shoe. So I took this on a 10-mile run with two 2-mile reps of marathon pace, and I did feel that this shoe picked up really nicely. If you want to shift it into a faster pace, it's lightweight on the foot. I think it's 9 ounces?
9.4 ounces,
9.4, yeah.
And 267 grams for a size 10.5.
Yeah, so that's on the lighter side of things, or at least in that range of lighter daily trainers. And that was the one thing I liked about it. It kind of disappears on the foot once you get going.
I like the way the shoe rides. I've been using it for short distance. Right now, I have to give a little caveat on my running right now because we're doing high mileage for the Summer Grit Challenge. My legs are beat up. I'm tired. I'm not feeling particularly fast right now, but this shoe does have the qualities of something I think that could pick up the pace for me. It's light through the stride, feels good, and maybe some of the fatigue that I'm feeling on the front of my foot is because of the high mileage I'm doing right now. So I don't want it to be it's gonna come down to a personal preference.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. We're talking about the Turbo, the first 2 versions, people were stoked on them. It was like so far ahead of everyone else. But now we have a shoe with this midsole that honestly just seems to be, there's a lot of shoes that feel like this, or even better than this. I gotta be honest. So it's kind of like, is it exciting anymore? That's
where I feel like they missed the window here. This should have come out in 2020. Mm-hmm. It's 4 years late, and now in the competition, and whenever we review shoes, it's compared to what else is available on the market at that time.
Yeah.
Now there are a lot of shoes that I think are not only competitors with this shoe, but offer a better ride. I would say that shoes that are in this category would be the New Balance Rebel V4. You've got the Cielo Road from Hoka. You've got the Mach 6 from Hoka. You've got the Brooks Hyperion. You've got the Saucony something or another.
Puma Deviate.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about a lot of shoes are at this level.
Yeah, and you even mentioned in a budget shoe, the Adidas SL2, I think, has a similar feel to this and is $40 cheaper.
Well, I mean, you were talking about how past Pegasus had the ZoomX and the React. I mean, that's basically what the SL2 is doing with the Lightstrike Pro and the Lightstrike. It's a dual layer, full bed of it though, layered on top of each other. And you're getting that shoe for what, 120 bucks?
Yeah.
Again, you're a big Nike fan, say you like the Invincible, you want something that's not the Max Cushion Trainer, and you want in between the Streak Fly and the Invincible, I'm sure it's gonna be fine for you.
All right, and comparing it to the Pegasus 41, which we have here, this is Megs actually. The heel seems a little more cushioned on the 41, but the same issue I had with it getting a little thin under the forefoot, even though this has an Air Zoom unit. I still feel like both these shoes, maybe it's this style of shoe and the drop that they're putting in these shoes is where it's just a preference thing for me that it's getting a little thin. But the Plus doesn't give you, I don't know, that much more than you're getting out of the 41. So unless you just really like the styling and you want that ZoomX and it's slightly lighter weight, I'd say just go with a 41.
Since it is a ZoomX midsole, you're gonna get that loud clopping sound. Oh, I was gonna try to do the kick pedal, but I don't have a drum. You get the point. People are gonna hear you coming from a mile away in this shoe. So it's more the tempo, this vibe. Everyone knows how loud this shoe was too.
That was a loud shoe. What are you gonna give this shoe? Is it getting a green, yellow, red?
I would say it's getting a yellow from me. It's not a bad shoe. Like, it's a fine as running shoe. I think because of how excited we were from the turbos of yore. I think this is gonna be a yellow for me. It's fine. It's like, I don't know that I would choose this though over other shoes in that $180 range.
Just on looks alone, I'd give this a blazing green. I love the way it looks. I like calling back to the original turbo. As far as the midsole and the ride goes, I would give it a yellow. Like Robbie said, it's not bad. It's just a personal preference. I like a little more cushioning under the forefoot. If they had maybe dropped the back a little bit and add a little more to the forefoot to give it, like, say instead of like a 10 millimeter drop, you moved it to a 4 to 6 millimeter drop and move some of that cushioning up into the front area here, I think I'd really love this shoe.
I don't know, this is kind of a side tangent, but I was thinking, man, Nike was the first to bring, carbon plates, really, not the first to do carbon plates, but really put it where it's supposed to belong.
To make a super shoe.
Yeah, and inside the Vaporfly and even the Alphafly. And then every other brand leapfrogged them into the super trainer category and found a way to make great shoes with that are snappy, responsive, that are exciting. They don't have that super exciting shoe that isn't the Vaporfly or the Alphafly.
So your daily trainer, your super trainer, they're missing that shoe.
Yeah, I mean, do you agree?
I agree. I'm excited to try the Pegasus Premium, which is coming out
in next year. Yeah.
Next year. That may be it. But again, that's the thing with the timing. It's like we're seeing these leaps.
Nike was just there, the tip of the spear when it comes to race day. Then the rest of the line just seems to be kind of floating around.
And it wasn't like that a while back when you had the tempo. The Pegasus was 35 was pretty solid. This turbo when it came out.
Epic React.
Yeah.
You had
Infinity.
Yeah. I mean, there was Infinity React even. There's a lot going for it, and then I'm not sure where the disconnect came or what's happening, it seems to be that I like that the fact that the turbo made a comeback, like to me that's a good sign, but I think that there's untapped potential. All right, well, thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video if you liked it, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on all our other things in the description, our Instagram. All the written reviews are on the website. Honestly, probably more in depth if you go to the website, get a lot more detail. And maybe not. This review is long. And, subscribe to our weekly emails. You get everything in one place.
Yeah, Carl's arm's tired, so we gotta go.
Yeah, I mean, running. I feel like if you pass someone running, it would be. All right.
Yeah, it would be.
I just browned out right there.
All right.
All right.
Anyhow,